Hello and welcome to another episode of Fear the Talking Heads. I am your host, Barb. I am joined today by Jason Shepard.
Once again, how's it going?
Yes. And Jason has some amazing artwork. I've talked about this before on the show. And you will also be at Scarefest
I
having a
will,
vendor table there.
I will
So,
be at Scarefest. I'll be right there near Stars Row, right across from
yeah.
it, I think. So,
I think that people should be following your page if they're not already because you're dropping some cool stuff lately.
thank you. I am on Instagram too. If you see my name in the corner here, just look that up and follow me. Give me a follow if you want.
Since we're talking about the Lost Boys in this episode, I will also want to mention Jason has done two very cool pieces of art for that. You have the Michael piece,
Jason Patrick, yeah, I did that
yeah,
one.
and then the other one,
Just a
right?
nice little collage of vampire hunting weaponry.
Every time we talk about something, you just so happen to have artwork that's already ready for me to
Chances are I probably do. Yeah.
to show.
Lost Boys, we have a family, the Emersons. They're moving to Santa Carla, California. And as they're trying to get settled into their new life out there with living in their grandpa's like cabin, as they start to wander out on the town and out on the boardwalk and out on the beach, they're trying to mingle around and see what's out there. And one night down at the boardwalk, where you will see a very muscular, oily Tim Capello playing saxophone, who, if you're going to ask me, what's your favorite character of the movie? It's Tim Capello, which I'll also talk about the soundtrack in just a little bit because Chef's Kiss. But brothers Michael and Sam, Jason Patrick and Corey Haim, RIP, are out mingling on the boardwalk during Tim Capello's big hunky oily concert. And Jason Patrick eyes a girl named Star. And as he tries to engage with Star, Star's man catches eye of this, played by Kiefer Sutherland, David. And as the movie goes on, you see David challenging Jason Patrick's character a little bit, Michael, and sort of inviting him into their world. And their world is that of just being really cool, carefree vampires. And Michael succumbs to it. So, of course, we've got Corey Feldman in the movie, and Jameson Newlander, who play Edgar and Alan Frog, the Frog brothers, who own a little comic book shop down on the boardwalk, and are self-proclaimed vampire hunters. So once Corey Haim finds out that his brother has joined a vampire gang, he engages them to help him solve the problem. And then it's quite comical, actually. The movie's got a lot of humor to it, I think.
Jason Patrick originally didn't want to do this. He
Really.
said, I don't know, it kind of sounds a little silly. He thought it was going to be more like a kid's type of thing. And Joel Schumacher, the director, he was like, no, 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 I'm going to have elements of both. We'll have, you've got the adult stuff happening over here with the vampires, and then over here you've got the kid gang. There's a nice blend to it, and I didn't know that the original script was supposed to be these 12 and 13-year-old vampires running around. The director wanted to glam them up more, make them into more of a biker gang,
Yeah.
mature vampires. So he changed the script a little bit to that, but I do like that The Lost Boys is a throwback to Peter Pan,
Yep.
eternal youth. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, the fact that this is a biker gang, they all look like they should be in a heavy metal band of
Yeah.
some sort with long hair or whatever. I think Kiefer had the shortest hair of all of them,
Kiefer
really.
had like the spiky up front, mullet in the back a little bit.
It seems like in the movie like he's really razzing Michael. So you're thinking like, oh, he doesn't like him eyeballing his girlfriend, so he's kind of trying to get this fella killed. But then he's like, hey, I want you to be one of us. So he
I
obviously liked him
think he saw something in him.
because Michael had a little bit of rebellion in him. That's why they moved. His mom just
Hmm.
got a divorce.
Sure.
So he's feeling rebellious.
Speaking of the mom, Diane Wiest,
Weiss.
everything I've seen her in, she's the same mom character, and I love her. I love her for it.
She has such a calmness to her.
She very much does. Yeah.
I think she's growing plants in her backyard.
She might be.
You
But
know what I mean?
yeah,
She's
I know what you
she's
mean.
she's just got that good energy.
Yeah.
But she has people were a little surprised that she took this role. They didn't
Mhm.
expect to see her in a vampire movie, but she wanted to play this nurturing mom in a role where she had just had a divorce and she's trying to raise these kids on her own.
She moves into town and takes on that job at the video store. I love that little video store that she's working in. Let's talk about Max. I mean, how much can we say about Max?
Well, we can say that he's a suspect by the Frog Brothers, right?
He is suspected by the Frog Brothers to be a vampire.
Yeah. Yeah. So they
And
there's a scene we won't go into too much, but they're kind of testing him a little
the
bit
dinner
to see.
scene.
You're trying to figure out who the head vampire is. It's important to find out who it is because Michael's transitioning.
Sure.
And the only way to stop that full transition is to find and kill the main vampire,
Hmm.
the head guy or
Hmm.
girl, whoever it may be. So
Yeah, because you do find out that I guess halfway point through the movie or so that Star herself, the girl, and the little kid, they are only partially transitioned. And then you find out, of course, like, well, get rid of the head vampire and that will resolve that. Yeah, I listen to the soundtrack on a pretty frequent basis. I think all the way through, it's a really good
yeah.
soundtrack. And I have it on cassette and CD. Yeah, but we've got In Excess. This group, Eddie and the Tide, do the song Power Play. Love Power Play. Of course, Tim Capello, hunky saxophone, oily guy. I still believe iconic, right? Like,
I just wish they would have played more of that song. They only played a small little tiny bit of it. There's memes with this guy
oh yeah,
because the oiled up look was just so, I think it's hilarious.
it's hilarious.
It is. 'Cause I'm like,
Um,
what the hell is he doing with all that baby oil on? He's
yeah, yeah.
topless and he's wearing some kind of a like
He's got some
spandex pants or
spandex, yeah,
something
yeah,
with this weird thing covering his junk, which by the way, little trivia, that little thing that's covering his junk, he was a supportive act on Tina Turner's concerts for the sax playing. And she picked that out for him to wear.
really.
Yes. I was like, what?
Wow. Tina freaking.
I know. So he said that was her idea because
Oh,
I
I did
wanted to
not know
watch
that he was
helping her out with her
part
shows.
of her tour. Yeah,
Yes. And that's how he got this role. They had known that he was in Tina's crew and
interesting.
they were like, "Hey, do you want a job?" And he's like, "Yeah, of course I want to be in that movie."
Yeah,
They really only focused on
I
David.
mean, you don't know much about him.
So it's a little bit of a lost opportunity there,
Yeah,
don't you think?
yeah, but I mean,
They're just there to look pretty, which they
how
all look
much of him?
pretty.
How much do you need to know about him, though? You know what I mean? Like, I
I
don't know.
guess. But
Yeah,
now I think later years when you've seen how many movies they've all actually been in, I'm like, ah, just a missed opportunity. You could have really fleshed out their background and just even done a flashback of how they turned or what
sure.
have you. But they do focus on Kiefer Sutherland's character David quite a bit. Now, as far as Star, the character played by Jamie Gertz, and she's stunning in this. As we mentioned earlier, she's the girlfriend of David. I still don't know though, the kid that's transitioning slowly, I don't know, is that her child or just a kid that was just randomly turned
It's not
in
really
to
explained. I mean,
okay.
like, I don't know who this kid is.
Yeah, it's just some random child
Well,
that's on the back of a motorcycle. He's got to be like 7 or 8 years old. Diane Wiest, at one point, she's in the kitchen and she sets down this carton of milk. And on the back of the carton was Laddie. It's his picture. So that's something that they don't do anymore. They don't put missing children on the back of a milk carton. But if you ever hear the phrase, that one's going to end up on a milk carton. If you keep
yep,
this up, you're going to end up showing up on the back of a milk carton. That's where that phrase comes from, is because back in the 80s, maybe even the 90s, if there was a missing child, they put their picture on a milk carton
yep.
because most
I'm
people were
glad you brought
buying
that up.
milk.
That's a good point.
Thanks. As
Yeah.
far as like the vampire mythology, there's different ways that they sleep at night
Hmm.
versus a coffin. Not going to spoil
Hmm.
it, but it's different.
Hmm.
It's something that you hadn't seen prior to
Yep.
that,
Yep.
or I hadn't anyway.
Speaking of, let's talk about their hideout for a minute. So
Yeah.
they're in like an old, I think it's an art museum or something. It is cool. It's been sunk and destroyed in this earthquake, like the remnants of that, and they live down there under that.
There's a scene where the kids kill one of the vampires before Act 3. I don't want to tell you who it is, but they kill one of them. The Frog Brothers have blood on them, but it doesn't look like regular blood. And so that made me curious, so I had to Google it. And it's corn syrup with glitter because they wanted to make it look almost unrealistic, like comic book style blood.
Right? Well, what did they kill a Twilight vampire? Or?
I think it's hilarious that fast forward how many decades
Right.
when Twilight came out and everyone was like, oh, a glittery vampire. And they
Right.
had such a laugh about that.
That is so funny.
But here they
I
were
did.
already introducing glitter into the vampire blood in 1987.
I'll have to go back and look at that. It's so ironic that because when Twilight was out, I remember seeing memes like, "You can keep your glitter vampires. This is real vampires," and it's like the Lost Boys, and now it's like, well,
We mentioned that there's, Billy Wirth and Alex Winter in there. Billy Wirth had auditioned for the character of David.
oh, did he?
Yeah.
Okay,
So, but at some point they decided, no, he's going to be better as one of the sidekicks. They wanted Kiefer to play David.
I'm glad they did. Grandpa's a hoot, right?
Yeah,
Like,
he is a hoot. He's eccentric. He's like, this row of the fridge is mine. That's my soda and my cookies. That's no one touches that but
yeah, yeah.
me.
I love the scene where it's like, Grandpa, where's your TV? He's like, I don't have a TV. And he's like, then why do you have a TV guide? And he's like, if I get the TV guide, I don't need to watch the show. And they're like,
Well, let's just say back in the 80s, and these kids right now, like 16, 17 years old, they're not
don't know
going
what
to
the
know
TV
this.
guide is?
The
Yeah.
TV guide was this thick magazine. I mean, literally this thick, just for the week. That would show you what was playing for the week, but it also said what each movie was about.
Give you a little description. Even
Whoops.
whatever episode of a TV show, it was like this week MacGyver foils a, and it's like, oh, okay. Well, I don't need to watch the show now. I used to sit and
Yeah,
read TV Guide when I was a
I
kid.
did too.
We would get them in the mail. So yeah,
I don't remember if I've ever said this actually on the show. I think I've told you directly, but I used to go through that TV guide with a highlighter for the week because I was such a little nerd, and I would highlight which movies that I wanted to see.
yeah.
And the sad part would be if two movies I wanted to see were playing at the same time. But then you just would wait for a commercial and zap over to the other one and go back and forth. Kids today, they just don't know what it was
There
like
was an
back
art to
then.
this. We had to figure it out.
Jason, do you remember when there was this the A and B and you had to walk up to it and flip it to the A or flip it to the B at some point? My grandparents had that.
I don't know about the A and B. I
Okay.
remember, I mean, we had our TV when, TVs girl I have growing up, they had the knobs, but I don't remember what the A and B was about.
There were only so many channels and it was like either 10A or 10B. And if you wanted to get to one, you had to get your butt up off the couch and you had to
Oh
walk
yeah,
over there and flick
yeah.
it. So,
We lived
yeah.
out in the country, so before we got DirecTV in I think it was 96 is when we finally got DirecTV. All we had were like local channels. And the only way we would get them is we had this huge, tall, towering antenna, and we had a control box inside. And so you would turn this knob. It was, oh man, channel 18 is like getting fuzzy. Start playing with the antenna. So we would like turn the knob and it'd be like, and the antenna would slowly turn until you got it. And you're like, all right, that looks good. We'll keep it right there.
Or the aluminum foil sometimes they had to put
Sometimes you'd have to do that on the
these.
rabbit ears. Yeah. I was pleasantly surprised by the Lost Boys sequels. Thing about them is that nobody gave them a chance because the Lost Boys was so iconic. I know that everybody was like, how could these possibly live up to that original? And do these live up to that original? No. Are they good, fun, entertaining movies? Yeah. And The Tribe, it's more serious and it's very much almost like a copy and paste of the first one.
Okay.
So instead of biker gang, we've got surfers now. For some reason, the family in this, their names are also Emerson. No relation at all to the family in the original movie. So I don't know what that was about.
Maybe it was just a nod to the original. It
Could have
could
been.
be.
We got Corey Feldman back as Edgar Frog, and he's older now. He's living in this trailer out in the desert or whatever, and he comes back to help this new family with their vampire problem in Santa Carla. It's actually a pretty fun movie, and there's a mid-credits scene where you get to see an interaction with Corey Haim's character and Corey Feldman. It's pretty neat. It might be my favorite part of the whole movie. Very brief. And then The Lost Boys, The Thirst, I think is probably like, oh, it's way better than the sequel, than the
Yes,
second one.
I
The,
read that it goes back to having more of the elements of the first one.
but it's pretty badass, like honestly. Like it's a badass vampire hunting movie. You've got this pretty much the Frog Brothers are back together in this. Like, you've got this rave electronic music DJ named DJ X who's like distributing, he's a vampire, right? Distributing this drug blood to all of the people that could attend these big raves that he's throwing. And there's like some political senator who's with him, working with him, who's a vampire on it now, because the scene opens up with like the Frog Brothers invading the somewhere in Washington, D.C. or something, like trying to take out this congressman vampire or whatever. I don't know. I can't remember. It's been so long since I've seen it, but very action packed. Like you've got this news crew, like this sleazy trash talk journalist kind of tagging along with them and filming the whole thing for like a reality show. But it's just a lot going on in the movie, but it's just really fast paced, action packed. Just seeing the Frog Brothers like at it again together is pretty cool. Big comic book vibes in the third one. And yeah, it's just fun. Like you can't, I mean, you just cannot expect it to surpass that first one.
And what makes me a little sad is that Joel Schumacher was originally dabbling around in the idea of doing a Lost Girls, and he didn't do it.
That would have been awesome. That
Ah,
would have
like
been a
a
great sequel.
right, like a
Yeah.
spin-off
Yeah.
with girl vampires.
Oh yeah.
I want someone to come along and do that. And as well as the other idea that was originally scripted with these 12 and 13-year-old vampires running around
Hmm.
because kids are trusted. No one's going to think that that kid is a vampire. You know, they could really take down half the city.
Yeah.
Scarefest is bringing Jason Patrick to the event in October, as well as Billy Wirth. I'm hoping we can get the saxophone guy, Tim
Please get
Capello.
Tim Capello. Yeah.
Ah, that'd be so great.
Yeah.
And if he just happened to be playing at the VIP party, I might have to make an appearance to see him there.
I hope the Scarefest crew is watching this and taking notes because I would go to a Tim Capello after party.
Right?
Are you kidding?
He still plays at some of the conventions. I
He's still,
I
yeah.
looked it up. I did my
Yeah. Oh
homework here,
yeah.
Jason.
He's still very much Tim Capello. Yeah.
Yeah, I still believe.
I still believe in him too.
Thank you for doing the synopsis on all of these.
I hope I met your
Yes, you
expectations.
have. Yes, you have. So thank you for tuning in. We will see you next time on Fear the Talking Heads.